Internet, what are you doing? I told you I quit. I don't care what the title card said. I quit. Oh, don't give me that face. What face? That puppy dog face. It's kind of cute, actually. Look, you guys seem nice, and I don't want to leave on a sour note. But I'm not reviewing this. No. No, I'm not reviewing this. I don't care. No. Goodbye. Internet. 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 You're not going to leave me alone, are you? Fine. Fine, I'll do it. Can you at least give me a minute to get ready? Thank you. Hello, Internet, and welcome to Bookworm Reviews. I'm your host, the Bookworm, and I don't like this book one bit. You know, there are those things that when you hear about them, it just fills your heart with unadulterated malice? Well, that is what this book is to me. Sit back and relax as we dive into Catcher in the Rye by J.D. Salinger. May God have mercy on us all.
He's a real nowhere man, sitting in his nowhere land, making all his nowhere plans for nobody. Doesn't have a point of view, knows not.
If you really want to hear about it, the first thing you'll probably want to know is where I was born, and what my lousy childhood was like, and how my parents were occupied and all before they had me, and all that David Copperfield kind of crap. But I don't feel like going into it if you want to know the truth. In the first place, that stuff bores me, and in the second place, my parents would have had about 2 hemorrhages apiece if I told you anything pretty personal about them. They're quite touchy about anything like that, especially my father. They're nice and all, I'm not saying that, but they're also touchy as hell. Besides, I'm not going to tell you my whole goddamn autobiography or anything. I'll just tell you about this madman stuff that happened to me around last Christmas, just before I got pretty run down, and had to come out here and take it easy. So starts this little gem. I would try to summarize the plot, but the book kinda doesn't have one to speak of, at least in the traditional sense. But I'll try. It's pretty much explained on the first page that this is a story about a guy during Christmas time that goes to do some stupid things. His name is Holden Caulfield, and if there is a bigger reason for a wasted space, it is Holden Caulfield. I'll explain later. He had just been expelled from his 4th prep school because he purposely failed all his classes due to his belief the school was being filled with phonies. So instead of waiting till Christmas vacation to head home, he leaves and for the next several days BS's around New York. That is about it. If you haven't guessed, I hate this bloody book, and yet it is considered one of the most important books of the 20th century, and it's one of the most taught books in high school. To which I simply ask, why? This book is pointless. When we read a book, one of the things we talk about is what we learn from it, or gain, or understand. So, what does Rye do? Teenagers are whiny brats. Phonies are jerks. Movies are made by whores. Okay, let's look into why this book was written. Some context will at least not make me sound like an idiot. Okay, Cliff Notes, Catcher, context. Let's see. Salinger was talented in writing at a young age. Made some short stories in the New Yorker. Went to World War II. Ah, here we go. Published at a time when the burgeoning American industrial economy made the nation prosperous and entrenched social rules served as a code of conformity for the younger generation. Okay, so we're playing with the rebel without a cause school of thought. So Caulfield is James Dean. No, I'm sorry. No context can justify what this book is. Whiny is whiny, regardless of context. I don't care what I said in the last review. We are talking about this, and the context just makes it more stupid. It's just some guy talking about what he sees, or events he thinks about, or complaining about everything. There are barely any other characters outside of his sister who are there, then are never seen again, which to some will get really repetitive. I could read you any part of the book to get the point across. In fact, did you ever get fed up? I said. Did you ever get scared that everything was going to go lousy unless you did something? Do you like school and all that stuff? It's a terrific bore. Do you hate it? It's a terrific bore, but do you hate it, is what I mean. Well, I don't exactly hate it. You always have to. Well, I hate it. Boy, do I hate it, I said. But it just isn't that. It's everything. I hate living in New York and all. Taxi cab and Madison Avenue buses with the drivers and all always yelling at you to get out of the rear door and being oh guys are called the Blue Angels and going up and down the elevators when you just want to go outside and guys are doing their hands all the time and people all shut up! You know, when I first heard about this book being a classic, I picked it up to read when I had nothing else to do. I hated it, of course. What I saw was a guy complaining about the world, even though most of it relates to him wishing for change, but doing nothing to make said change. I saw this and I thought, was this what teenagers think all the time? Sure, I wasn't St. Peter in high school, but I knew more about life than this guy, and I was a year younger than him when I read the book. Okay, let's try to be fair. He witnesses the death of his younger brother. This isn't a spoiler. It is talked about within the first fourth of the book. Death is a major part that we all face and need to grow. It's something that puts a lot of us in dark places that hangs over us. But we learn and grow, hopefully for the better. 4 years after his brother's death, and he hasn't learned a damn thing. Let alone do anything, because God forbid you actually do something. Then I got into arguments about why this book was bad. Of course they were years later, and I didn't remember everything, so I reread it to see if I missed something, or to learn to understand Caulfield's mind. Nope. Still a phony whiner who knows nothing about growing up. My God, if you want change, do it. You don't cry around New York acting like everyone around you is a phony when you are the phony. Alright, to be truthfully honest, it is a well-written book. Caulfield may be a brat, but by God, it's an interesting brat. I will say Sillinger knew what he was writing about, and reading it is like seeing the inside of a madman. Anyway, I got to wrap this up fast before it turns into an entire rant. Okay, genre review. Being classified as fiction, I give it a 6 out of 10. As much as I hate this book, I can't deny it has its fans for sort of a good reason. Some people can relate to Caulfield based on their lives, and everyone learns about different things of life at different times. So that makes me put it above average. Barely. Like I said, the writing is top notch, so you won't be bored. Unless you hate whiny little brats. Personal review. 1 out of 10. Lastly, the overall review. I give Catcher in the Rye a 5 out of 10. This is a divide down the middle, either you love it or hate it book. Very little middle ground. Of course, being a classic means you could get it anywhere. I say rent it first before buying it, and it's a fairly short read, so you won't be wasting too much time. If anyone is interested in sharing what they think of the book, please email me. I love to know your thoughts. All in all, I could wrap this review up in one simple sentence.
I just read a book for nothing!
My God, I agreed on something with Eric Cartman. Alright, you happy? I did the review. Okay, so we can move on. What do we have for next week? You just want to see me in pain, don't you?
Yes.
Internet? You scare me.